everyone, it's Dr. Erin here, one of the Good Doctors of Abbey Research, and I'm coming at you with our Good Doctors Diagnose for Monday, October 21st. And today I'm talking about a recent bugaboo of mine, an issue facing women in the workplace that I've learned a lot about in the last year, and something that I'm very passionate about talking about whenever I can, and that is women's unpaid labor. And what that means is, globally, around the world, women bear the brunt of unpaid labor, which means household chores, laundry, cleaning, cooking, caring responsibilities, shopping for food, caring for elderly family members or disabled family members, children, obviously. All of that is work that we have to do in our lives. It's necessity. And those necessities and cultural values vary depending on where you are in the world. But what doesn't vary is the fact that that women do the majority of the work. So I'm going to reference really briefly my Bible of gender issues for women at work, currently Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez, who is now a hero of mine. Everyone should have to read this book. It should be required reading, in my opinion. So pick up your copy today. And she does a fantastic job of breaking down all of this research. She has entire chapters about unpaid labor. But I'm just going to read a couple of statistics real quick before I talk about how you can help. So globally, 75% of unpaid work is done by women who spend, on average, between 3 and 6 hours per day on unpaid work, compared to men who spend an average of 30 minutes to 2 hours. So this takes up a real big part of women's days. They're not compensated for it, but they're still expected to then perform all of the other paid labor duties at the same level of men, even though they have this extra burden on their time. So Caroline references in her chapter, The Long Friday, in her book, on page 72, for those of you reading at home, a 2010 US study on the imbalance of the amount of unpaid work done by male and female scientists. So just looking at one particular branch of work, found that female scientists do 54% of the cooking, cleaning, and laundry in their households, adding more than 10 hours to their already 60-hour work week, while men's contribution, 28%, adds only half of that, adds only 5 hours. And they break that down culturally in India, Italy, France, all these other places as well. But the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I think it's something every leader and manager needs to be aware of. When you have people in your office who identify as women, it's incumbent upon you to know your people and know what kind of unpaid labor they are undertaking in their life and the impact that that's going to have. Caroline breaks it down in terms of financially. It impacts women's ability to advance in their careers, because a lot of time it hinders their ability to get a full-time job, or if they have a full-time job, it hinders their ability to go to functions and do a lot of the things that might be required to advance career-wise, because they have this extra unpaid work that is taking up a lot of their time. And in a lot of jobs, time is money. And when you don't have that extra time, or when you do, if you're people who identify as men, that makes a really big difference. So know your people, know what kind of challenges your women are facing, and be as empathetic and as understanding as you can in terms of the expectations you place on them for their job, what's going on with the burdens of their unpaid labor, and how that's impacting their emotional health and their physical health at work. It's a really, really vitally important issue facing women who are working around the world, both paid and unpaid. And we can talk a lot about what needs to be done to redress that imbalance. But for me, for this Good Doctors Diagnose, I want to encourage you to be aware of it. Start a conversation. Start talking to the women you work with to understand what's going on in their lives and what kind of labor they have to do every day. And find ways, if you can, possibly to mitigate it, to assist, to make sure that they're able to bring their best selves to their work environment. Because really, if you're looking at the bottom line and you want people to be productive and you want people to be contributing members to your company culture and to your company goals and strategies and visions, they need to be able to bring themselves to work without the weight of all of this other stuff that could be going on. So start a conversation, do what you can to support your staff, and read more about women's unpaid labor and the effects that it can have on women around the world. I would start with Carolyn's book. I'm also going to include a link to some graphic comics from a feminist comic named Emma, just to give you a little bit of different visualization of it. But for now, that's everything I have for this Good Doctors Diagnose. We will see you on Wednesday. Take care, everybody.